They gonna put you straight out there on level 4, 5, 6 yard with the big people. They don't give a about that. Louisiana, they send you straight there and go with the big people. They don't give a about that.
You had mentioned earlier as far as having your mom and your sister come visit you. How important is it, do you feel, having those from the outside to come visit, give you something to look forward to? Or should you leave home at home and not even worry about anybody, your girl or whoever comes seeing you?
All that's unavoidable. All that's unavoidable. It's gonna be times where you'll want a visit and can't get it. And that's the same thing as not never having now. Because that one moment you want that visit, whether it's at Christmas, Thanksgiving, or whatever, if you don't get it, it could hit you the same way it hit somebody else who ain't never had a visit in 5 years. Because your desires only get granted from the people that love you. Prison only cater to what they feel you need. But in the sense to where you have people who gonna come see you, that's a blessing, man. You supposed to make that count. But eating the visitation can make a situation worse.
That's real. That's real. Let me ask, this is a general question, but we're going to kind of take a couple different places. But what is the worst thing you've seen that you feel, or let's say top 3 things that you've seen in your damn near 20-year stint in prison? What's the worst thing you've seen?
The worst thing I seen in prison, well, when I was in the cafeteria and this essay stabbed this other essay in the neck, that was my first time seeing it. So when I saw it, I never seen it before, live and in my face like that. Like I'm sitting here and you sitting there and I'm eating, that's happening. And what made it worse, it wasn't the fact that he was getting stabbed, it was that I was surrounded by people who had already normalized this type of behavior. Because while I'm watching it, I'm looking like this. The man sitting next to me, he taking my food off my tray, eating that shit. Because he's already used to it. See, this was in that first 5 months I'm telling you about. So this is how you start that transition of identifying with your environment. Because I'm seeing now how these niggas move in this bitch. They watch him get fucked up, blood fly everywhere. He stabbed me, this nigga stealing my food. I'm sitting up here, I lost my appetite like, damn. And everything running through my head, that could be me. That could be me. This nigga ain't worried about that shit. He eating his food out this tray. You know what I'm saying?
Shit, taking off yours. Like,
yeah,
shit,
take it off mine.
Yeah,
you can watch that shit and be worried about that nigga. Fuck that Mexican over there, nigga. I'm finna eat. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. Since that happened, how many more scenarios like that did you see? Because that's the first 5 months in.
Yeah, that was the first 5 months
Did you normalize it after a while?
I had no choice but to normalize. Like the second, like after that happened, we went on lockdown. 2 days later, we came up. I'm standing in the pill on the line. A dude had a seizure right there on the floor and died right there in the pill on the line. I didn't even know. I heard about they won't allow you to touch him and they won't allow you to help him, but we couldn't even back up. So while he's sitting on the floor, I never seen a seizure day in my life. So that was new to me. And I was young, so I'm like, man, what the fuck? I never even heard of a seizure. You see what I'm saying? So when I saw it, I'm looking like, man, what he gonna do? And then when he stopped foaming at the mouth and just laid there and he was gone, they said everybody walk this way, step over him and go down there through that gate. And when I walked and stepped over him, I thought about that shit for about 2 weeks. Like, damn, man, this shit here. Now I'm thinking about what type of food they feeding. Now I'm thinking they fed the nigga, made him have a seizure. You know, my mind is all type of shit because it's adjusting. Everything happening too fast for me. I'm brand new to this shit. So as I started to step over one body, and then they have to tell you after you see nothing, walk around them. After you walk around so many bodies, man, in prison, you start looking at dying like it ain't shit. And the shit just started happening. You know, before you go, you might have a gun and you know you might shot at somebody might shot at you, but it's a difference. See, in prison, you can't miss. Yeah. See, that's a different kill because you up here when you kill a nigga now. You not way over there shooting and hoping you hit a motherfucker. You know who you hitting, you coming to hit him, you ain't no missing. You gonna feel him when you take his life. Yeah. And see, that's a difference. So when you standing right here and you see this happening today, you see everybody responds to this shit. So now, sooner or later, their response gonna be your response.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, well, so let's do it like this. You have mentioned off camera, everyone who does time is different, like 3 to 5 years might look different in Texas than in LA.
Right.
Do you respect someone that's only did 2-3 years in prison? Not saying respect like you lose respect for a man, but when someone said they did time and they say, oh, you only did 2-3 years, do you look at it like...
No, I'm not gonna listen to him.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna listen to him. No, I ain't listening to that shit.
Explain that, please.
If you only did 2 years and you come around me and you start telling me about, yeah, man, I was locked up this, that, there, and the other, I'm gonna look at you. Because that 2 years, first of all, what the fuck did they put you at for that 2 years? And that goes back to what I said about Texas and California, Louisiana, all these other states. You might get 4 years. California, they gonna put you straight out there on level 4, 5, 6 yard with the big people. They don't give a damn about that. Louisiana, they send you straight to Angola with the big people. They don't give a fuck about that. In Texas, you get 2 years, you might go over there to a small trustee type unit because they know they finna bring you up for parole. You're not gonna even be here long. So in Texas, I wouldn't listen to this shit. Now I might give a nigga the benefit of the doubt coming out of California. I might give them the benefit of the doubt because dealing with that East Coast and that gang shit and them niggas in Chicago, that gang shit is like, it's past time, but they still believe in it. And that's a genocide. So to them, they still own that right now to a certain degree. But to a certain degree, they not. But in Texas, if somebody came to me and said, oh, I did 2 years, I'm not finna listen to that shit you talking about. Because you wasn't doing time, you was in time out.
For those who are not on death row, for those who are doing life, how much respect did you give those men who were doing life that you met?
A man that's doing life, I give him the same amount of respect as anybody else. Because for one, whatever got you life, if you actually did that, I'm not gonna glorify that. But then again, I'm not somebody that judge and say you should be locked up for the rest of your life, because everybody entitled to a mistake. I believe that. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe somebody just straight up born evil. That's installed somewhere. And it don't necessarily have to mean you was taught that. You could have been somewhere playing by your damn self. And your little mind, what you seen, you translated, and it took you this way. You see what I'm saying? So everybody entitled to a mistake. You know, I don't believe is you commit one act, that's it, that's all. But at the same time, God is forgiving. It's still a price to be paid. So those who doing life, I'm gonna treat them like somebody doing 5 or 10 years. Because guess what? Within your life sentence, your mama could die in 2 years. Who's to say mine won't die in my 5 years?
That's right.
So it's still the same thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys I had on here who had life sentences and have come on this platform sitting right in front of me. You know, right. God had a different say. You know, rules changed, laws changed, right, where that life sentence had to get, you know, whatever the word is, where they're out free. So I guess you could look at life like, you know, mentally, you know, you're really not caged up for life, but it's how you look at it. Let me ask you about like rules in prison, because I've heard there's a rule, you don't tell someone what you in for. Or it's you don't ask someone what you in for. But everybody look at that differently. Some people not. You get a cellmate, you need to know immediately what you in for. How did you look at that as far as knowing what someone's in for and telling what you're in for?
When that became a factor for me, it's based on what I looked at you and what I saw. If you come off and you look like somebody who really don't belong in jail, or you looking like you're a little too sweet, then I'm gonna inquire about you, man, because you don't fit the description. Where you grew up at, you had a complete household, you really didn't deal drugs, you don't have no stories of you and your partners breaking into shit or nothing like this here, man, where the fuck you come from? But some people, you know, they let people come on the wing and they sit around and they don't inquire about nothing. They let them live until they bring it their way. In other places, in other states, then they may, hey man, we need to see your paperwork. And when people doing that, we need to see your paperwork, that's because the prison is already structured to a degree where everybody know who's plugged in with who. And they can't afford to let the wrong one come through, because if we all tied in with the sergeants and lieutenants and we getting our packs and cigarettes and shit through this hill, we getting money and making them money, and just so happen they get a new major shipped to this unit and he want to run things this way, and when that major come to this unit, he brought 2 or 3 of his boys from another unit over here, and this motherfucker's on our block, then they gonna, hey man, look here, we got a new major over here, man, and when he got over here, they say he brought 2 or 3 SSIs with him. That's one of them right there. Then that become an issue. Say, man, what you in here for, bro? You know what I'm saying? What's your paperwork, man? What's your name? Then we gonna take your shit, and instead of running it through the system, we gonna send that shit to the world. See what the world gonna run back. Fuck what they put in the system, because if you working with the major, that means you plugged in, man. He might camouflage your ass, because everywhere he go, you going. You know what I'm saying? And that's some shit they used to do back in the day. If I'm the captain on this unit and I make major at this other unit, I can put in word and say, hey, let this one come over here with me. But they really don't talk about that in prison. That's shit they was doing back in the day.